Batgirl number 15. Hope Larson writing, Chris Wildgoose on art. This is the second part of the Summer of Lies story, which obviously features Dick Grayson in a supporting role. And we're still wondering who the Red Queen is, although I'm still pretty convinced Ainsley's going to turn out to be the Red Queen. But Ainsley, of course, being the character that Barbara knows from her past, from this summer, who she was doing some work with, both at a restaurant where they were both working and as an intern for a sort of tech job with computers. But so I dug this issue quite a bit. I liked the first one as well. That this was a mix of present day stuff where they're trying to figure out what's going on. That this nurse in the hospital, when they're there to see Mad Hatter, goes nuts and she's being controlled by something. And she freaks out. The pair of them have to take her down. They decide to put her in an MRI machine to try and see if they can fry the nanobots in her. And oh dear, instead it completely vaporizes her.
And I like that with Nightwing's like, we vaporized her. Like,
yeah, I love
just nails the look on his face.
It's going to be obviously not completely his fault because they obviously show that the other workers are starting to like the other person at the hospital is the one who turns the machine on, even though she's done it too early. And I feel there's going to be more to it. But I love that it nails his anger. In the very next scene, he's like punching the wall. He's like so angry that it went that way. Which obviously leads to a really sweet moment because Barbara tries to calm him down and they end up kissing. And obviously the Dick Babs feels are always going to be high.
They've turned him into the Matt Murdock of the DCU. Like, he's got so many different ex-girlfriends and girlfriends, and just in Rebirth alone now, like Sean and Babs, and there's hints that he was involved with Starfire early on. Like, that dude's...
Don't forget Huntress.
Huntress. Like, how can I forget Huntress?
Yeah.
It's also, So, and I'm not trying to throw shade on to Dick for that. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I think obviously we never know exactly where stories take place in relation to each other from different books. So I'm just assuming that this is either before the Huntress stuff or a little bit after it. But either way,
and with them, it's such a tragic because deep down, I feel like they're meant to be. I have this romantic love inclination towards them. But I always feel like they can never be together.
Yeah, well, that's why Dick and Babs is the one that always gives me the most feels because, I don't mind them being with Huntress, but it doesn't give me the feels the same way. Whereas there's something so sweet and genuine about the way these two feel about each other, and it's kind of the thing where if they never will, but if they ever do like the ending and this is what happened, the epilogue scene, it would be no, Dick and Babs get married, they live happily ever after the end. That's what you want to imagine happens in the future.
He runs a trapeze class. She's doing something with tech, and they live out in the suburbs. That every now and again they dust off the costumes.
I'll criticise the art a little bit. I do think Wildgoose veers a little bit young with the faces at times.
Yeah, big time. Because I read this last night and I was super tired. I stayed up to watch a football game, and so I'm reading this kind of late, like later than normal, and I had to go back a couple times because it was jumping back and forth. And I was like, wait, man, they're drawing the adult ones to look a lot like the young ones, and then the young ones are looking really young because they're supposed to be like, what, 15, 16-ish?
Yeah, something in that range. And that would be my main complaint with the art is that sometimes the present-day faces are far too young looking. Otherwise, though, the expressions are really good because that page where they kiss, and it's like the kiss and like she says, like, hey, Dick, it's not your fault, and they break apart and... The expressions and all the emotions in their faces through all of that stuff was gold. It was perfect. They just looked too young. So,
I agree.
But otherwise, it was really solid stuff. So that was the gist of the present day stuff. The flashback stuff, again, very sweet. They're staking out this party and they decide to like infiltrate and like put on normal clothes and so they'll blend in. And there's a little sweet moment where she's like, yeah, but we'll see each other's... And it's like, oh, don't worry, I'll be a gentleman. I won't look. It's like, no, not that. Our secret identities. And then, so we actually see the moment where he tells her who he is. He's like, oh, I'm Dick Grayson. It's like, you thought my name was old-fashioned.
So it's always got the good humor. Like, I love Batgirl
good
so
humor,
much.
good and sweet. The moment where he takes her downstairs and you just see the little thought bubble where she says, oh, he's holding my hand. It's that teen sweaty palms, like they're noticing they have feelings for each other stuff. It's just it can be too much, but here it's perfect for these characters.
Yep. And I also want to point out like so what they're investigating as teenagers is there's this like new drug going around. They can't exactly figure it out, and you come to find out that the kids are basically ingesting nanobots, and these nanobots have a side effect that it makes you hallucinate. So at this party, because Dick points out like, well, yo, what kind of party is this where there's no beer? There must be something else going on, if you catch my drift. And Bal's kind of like, wait, what are you talking about? And then there's no other drugs there, but they're trying to trip on something, and so that ties it back to the nanobots.
The present day story.
Which I like, because I feel like, you know, we touched on the Mad Hatter, and I feel like this is going to be some kind of tech he had developed and then got rid of. You know, and that's what ties it to the Red Queen.
And Ainsley or Red Queen or whoever got their hands on it, and that's where it's went down this path.
In the past, they find that group that was looking for Ainsley when she cuts out from the restaurant, and they look at that group where I think it's from Gotham Imperial Bank or Purotech, and they have a dartboard with Ainsley's face on it.
Yeah, that's the little cliffhanger at the end, yeah. Give us the tease.
So I wonder how...
Because Ainsley goes to work, because she had Babs cover her shift, and Ainsley shows up, and she's looking from the back, and she sees these guys sitting at the table. It's like, oh, did they mention me? And she's clearly worried, and she runs out. So they really set up that these guys are after her, which is, you know, setting up what this past story is going to be. Yeah, just another subtle thing I really like. Again, just going back to the Babs and Dick kind of like sort of conversation and the way they talk to each other, is when they're leaving the party, and because they sort of break away until she calls them for help after the whole guys hunting Ainsley thing.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, make sure you call me." With the results, I mean, like, you know, it's just like, again, it's just that flirty, like, nervous. Oh, I almost said something that felt like it was flirting. I need to retcon it. I need to correct what I meant.
Yeah.
But the fact that she has to go out of her way to retcon it is what shows you she really kind of felt it.
Yep.
So it's good writing in that way. Larson's doing good stuff with that. And like I said, Wild Goose's art's pretty good. Outside of everyone looks really young, but the expressions are pretty spot on.
On point. Yeah. And I like that Larson, this is the second story we've gotten with her relationship with Dick, because the whole penguin, like the Son of Penguin stuff, it was there too. So I like that there's like a through line going on here. And it helps that I love both of the characters a whole lot. So
absolutely. But no, Batgirl's continuing to be a really good... do you know what I think Larson's doing really well with Batgirl? She's done a really good job of making it feel like it is suitable for like teens and younger folk without it alienating anyone who's older. Yeah.
Which I feel like the last, you know, reintroduction of Batgirl, where they try to skew it younger and like cool and hip, I feel like that missed its mark for people like us.
Yeah, whereas this, it feels like it just has the sense of innocence to it that Batgirl kind of has with it.
Yeah.
And I like that.
And that's been the through line since, you know, the first issue, I feel too. Like the whole travel around Asia had that vibe, because her whole friend from back in the day, Kai, and how he wanted to be more than friends beyond just needing her help. So yeah, I like Larson a lot. I think this is gonna end up being like a where we talk about those runs, like the Brian Q. Miller Batgirl.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you got to read that. I feel like here we're gonna be like when Larson's done, you got to read the Hope Larson Batgirl. It's really good.